Again, I must express my happiness to be in this part of the country where I have not been before, and I'm having a very nice day here, very good weather also, and emotions. I think I should maybe start from the Buddhist perspective, that Buddha used to say that the main causes of most of the sufferings in our lives is what he called klesha and karma. And klesha is a word in Sanskrit which includes negative emotions and confusion, not seeing clearly how the things are, what am I, what's the nature of things. So therefore, the negative emotions together with confusion or ignorance is klesha. And what is karma? Karma is the actions or activities or habitual tendencies that's created by those emotions and our confusion. That's what we call karma. So from Buddhist point of view, these two are the major, regarded as major sources of our sufferings and pain and problems. As we discussed yesterday, there is lots of, things that can go wrong, and that's giving us problems in the society, in the private life, and in the world. And but if you look at the kind of the personal or from the experience point of view, then it's the way we, how we think, how we react. That becomes very important. Also about how we act. So therefore, the emotions become very important from Buddhist point of view, and especially it is understood that this kind of negative emotions which we keep inside ourselves creates not only problems for ourselves and pain for ourselves, but also creates lots of problems and damage and difficulties for other people and for the world and society we live in. Just to give an example, we had, if you look into the history of this world, probably we will see that major part of the history is wars, and there was so much of sufferings, so much of pain and difficulties created by those wars, lots of killing, lots of atrocities. And if you look a little deeply into the reason of these wars, I think it is not so difficult to find that the main causes of all these wars, every wars, was either hatred or greed or jealousy, or sometimes because of arrogance and pride, or sometimes misunderstanding. So therefore, for the whole world, as well as in our own life also, if you look, if we are, acting, or if we are under the power of these negative emotions, then our mind gets disturbed. Our mind is not in peace, and sometimes these emotions come as if it's helping us. Sometimes people even say, I have a right to be angry. Why should I not get angry? I have the right to be angry. Of course, we have right to be angry. But being angry, does it help to make things better or not? Sometimes people say, if I don't act with anger, then I don't have the power to fight against injustice. It's a little bit true that when we get angry, sometimes we get some strength out of that. But the strength that we get through anger is a little bit like flame. It just goes warm up and then warm down. So most of the time, what we act, what we do or what we say during the flare of that anger, most of the time we have to regret afterwards, because we are not, when we are doing something under the influence of only anger, then we do something a little bit too much, or something not exactly the thing that we should be doing to solve the problems. So therefore, and then as soon as that anger is gone, our energy is finished. I'm angry, and then finished, and then it doesn't work too much. From the Buddhist way of understanding, we said that even there is something like injustice, and to fight against something like injustice, one should not use anger, but use compassion. The difference between anger and compassion can be something like this. If you see something happening that's not just, that you don't want it to happen, that you think should be changed, then either we can become angry or we can have compassion. Now if we focus our mind at that time to the people who are doing that, it can become anger. This person or these people are doing this very bad thing. They are bad. I'm against them. And then, you kind of start to do something against those people. And in the beginning, maybe it is like for that problem, for that cause, for that injustice. But sooner or later, it becomes almost a personal thing that I don't like that person. I want to, I wish all the bad things to that person. He's my enemy, or they are my enemy, something like that. And it becomes anger. But if we can focus not on the persons, but on the issue, like this is happening, this should not happen. If our focus can become the issue, then it does not necessarily to become anger, but compassion, because we do not necessarily have to hate anybody. We just want to change the situation, make the problem solved. So it's not against anybody. We just want to make this injustice into something just or proper, or So when that way of focusing or seeing becomes our way of doing things, then it can be compassion, because we are not against anybody. We are, as much concerned. We wish well to the people who are doing bad things, and we are also wish to good things to the people who are suffering from that thing. And so therefore, with compassion, we can also fight injustice. And if it is done with compassion, with a wish to, to benefit everybody, but not, having certain kind of anger or hatred or, negative or ill will to anybody, that energy, the energy or the power that comes out of that compassion is not something like anger, which just flares up and goes down, but it is more sustainable, because it's an issue. I want to work for an issue, and it's something that I can work for a long time, and kind of more continuously, and long time. So therefore, this is the understanding that negative emotions, although sometimes we think, and it can appear as something that can be useful and good for us, it eventually is painful for us, because when we are under the kind of what can you say, power of these emotions, then usually we lose the peace of our mind. Most of the time, what we do, act with that emotions, usually becomes very self-centered and selfish, and therefore hurts other people and creates situations which is neither good for me in the long run and not good for the others. So therefore, it is said that first it's very important that we look in and really understand that that to act with too much of negative emotions is not good for me and not good for others. Unless we have that understanding as the basis, then there's no reason why we have to do anything about emotions. So therefore, and also emotions, from Buddhist point of view, we talk about, 5 negative emotions, or 5, what we call 5 mind poisons, they say. All of them not necessarily we call emotions. And also there is, that every one of them is equally bad. It's maybe not like that. It is said that the worst of all negative emotions is the hatred. Because hatred is something that burns yourself and burns others like fire. If somebody has lots of hatred, then that's like fire burning. So when there is a fire in the forest, it burns the forest, but it burns itself too in the end. So there's nothing remains. So it destroys yourself. It destroys to whom you are, you have hatred, and it also brings lots of pain and problems for people around you. So therefore, the hatred is regarded as something, very emergent kind of negative thing. That there is nothing good about it, and it always creates a problem for yourself and others. Because as long as you keep your hatred, if you feel hatred in your heart, you cannot be happy. You cannot be, in peace. You necessarily is feeling pain and also hurt, and also, wanting to do something that's malevolent, that's harming somebody. Then comes like jealousy and pride, and and also too much kind of greed and things like that, which are sometimes a little bit okay, and sometimes not so good. If you overdo it, it brings lots of difficulties, lots of pain, it eventually is causing problems for yourself and others. But sometimes, it's also not so much bad. So therefore, we have to also understand that if we are too much under the influence of those things, then we have to work on it. But it is also true that it's difficult to get out of them totally. But to be aware of these things. Then there's things like ignorance or the confusion, which is like a basis. Because of this, all negative emotions come about. But it is not something that can be done like this, turned off or anything like that. So we need to work on that. We need to understand that. But it is not something emergency that we can immediately have to do something about it. We have to work on it in the long run. So this is the understanding from Buddhist point of view. Now, how to work on that? Generally, if we kind of look from the whole of Buddhist perspective, because as I said yesterday, Buddhism is not just one way. It's many ways. It's many methods. And Buddha himself said again and again that he does not teach people as I know. I teach people as it's needed for the people that I am teaching. Whatever would be useful, whatever would be right whatever would be suitable to those people that he is teaching, that is the right path for them, and I would teach that. So therefore I teach different approaches in different ways. And because that's the approach, so therefore, from a Buddhist perspective, you cannot be sectarian. You cannot say that my way is the only right way, because that's not possible. So therefore, from Buddhist point of view, there are many different methods given. And in Buddhism, actually, working on the emotions is regarded as one of the most important, because that's the main cause of most of our unhappiness, most of our problems, sufferings created for ourselves and others as well. So therefore, it's very, very important. Now, how do we deal with this? So the methods, if we kind of make it a little bit, what can you say, categorizing, it comes under 3 categories. You can say more or less 3 categories. These are called, giving up or letting go, transforming, and understanding. These 3. The first is, like you feel a certain negative emotion, say like anger or hatred or whatever. And when you are feeling that, usually you don't feel that good. Nobody would say that, oh, this morning I had such a nice time, I was so angry. I don't think anybody would say that. So therefore you know that you are not in a very, very nice time. So therefore, you say, okay, I would like to, I would like to do something about it. I would like to change this situation. I would like to, not keep this. Now again, sometimes people think that, oh, I got angry. That's, okay, you got angry. That's not a big deal. We've been getting angry all our life, and maybe all our lives before also. There's nothing, nothing so kind of something that like, falling the sky down. So it's nothing unusual. But the important is not to keep that, because if we keep it, then it goes on, and then it can turn into hatred, and then it becomes very painful for us. It can create lots of negative effects on us and also others. So even if I get angry, if I can let it go, or even if I cannot let go at that time and do something, I say something or do something that would a little bit hurt or harm some other people, even then, if I let it go afterwards, that's okay. This is important to understand, because it's not about just that emotion, but learning to not hold on to these negative emotions and letting go. So therefore, when I see the problem these negative emotions create, then I kind of either when I am having it or whether I have had it, then I say, okay, this I don't want, I don't need, it's not good. And also there is no real good reason to react like this. So therefore, I can let go. I think this is very, very important. I sometimes feel that the kind of emotions that we have been keeping for a long time, also we can let go. That happened in the past. Because, you know, when we see that there is no need to keep these emotions, we immediately can let it go. You know? Just to give a very simple example, you know, if I kind of heard or if I felt that somebody is doing something against me or saying something against me, and then I get upset and angry and hurt. Now if I came to know later on sometime that that was not true, this person did not do that or say that, then where did the anger go? That anger disappears because I know that it was not necessary to react like that. So therefore, even if somebody did something or said something that made me angry and upset and hurt, then if I understand clearly, if I have a certain understanding that yes, he did that, but it's not necessary that I have to get angry. Why not? First, because if I keep on getting angry and hateful, why do I get angry first? I get angry because I don't want to be hurt. Isn't it? That's the main reason why I get angry. I don't want to be harmed and I don't want to be hurt. That's why I get angry. But by getting angry and keeping the hurt feeling, I'm actually getting hurt more. Because, I'm actually getting myself hurt because I say, he said that, that's very bad. I'm really hurt. Yeah? But if I don't keep that anger or feeling of hurt, I would not get hurt. So if I say that, these people, I cannot zip their mouth, I cannot, shackle their, they can say things, they can do things, and, I cannot get rid of all the things that I don't want. Of course, it's better that they do not do those things and say those things, but, there are some people who do bad things and who do negative things, and I cannot totally control everybody. So if that is the case, why should I get hurt and why should I get so involved into this negative way by just somebody doing something or saying something? And most of the time also, if you look deeply into the situation, these people who did this, said this, sometimes, it's not necessarily because they want to hurt me, but they do it, or they say those things because they are in a situation which compels them to do that. If nothing else, it could be that they are themselves, their own negative emotions make them say these things. If they are, if somebody is very angry and somebody is very upset and totally, kind of overpowered by that emotion, people can hurt themselves. Lots of people even, kill themselves, die. And usually nobody wants to hurt themselves. But if they are under the influence of very bad emotions, they even give their lives. So if that is the case, then what is it? Just doing something against me. It's not true, it's not that bad actually. It's more bad for them than for me, because they are under that severe problem, negative emotion. So therefore, if we little bit look carefully and deeply, in fact, we should be more sympathetic to these people. We should have empathy that these people who are doing very negative things and saying bad things or trying to hurt me, they are under the influence of very negative emotions. So therefore, they are going through very bad times. They are suffering. So when somebody is suffering, if you see clearly, you wouldn't get angry at them, but you would feel bad for them. So when I can see like that, I don't need to get angry at them, but I can actually feel more compassion for those people. So when I can feel compassion for these people, I don't have to get angry and upset. So when I feel like that, when I understand like that, it is much easier for me to let go of that feeling, because it's, these are people who don't know, how they are under pressure, under negative emotions, under some other, conversion, and therefore they do those things. So therefore, if I can see like that, if you can understand something, the way things are and things like that, then the way I feel can completely change. There is a kind of a story I read somewhere. It said that there was one person, and he was kind of traveling in the train, and he worked all his day, and he was a little tired and things like that. So he was traveling in the train, and it was a long journey. So he was in the train, and then one man came in, and he had 2 children with him, 2 boys. And these boys were very naughty, and they were making lots of noise and doing lots of mischief. And then this person was just sitting there and doing nothing, not to control these children or nothing. So this person was getting angry, and he was thinking, why is he's just letting his children behaving so badly and not controlling them, and was about to say something a little bit, not so nice. And at that time, then this person spoke, and this person said, "I'm very sorry, but the mother of these 2 children died just now in the hospital, and we are coming from there, and I'm lost, and I'm totally lost, and I don't know what to do. That's why I cannot manage these children." And he said that as soon as he heard this, all his anger completely vanished, because he knew that these people had lots of problems, and so therefore they were not, it's not, there's no reason to be angry, but to be actually more, more compassion. So there are lots of cases like that. Actually, in my own case, there was like that. Some people was writing some emails to somebody, and they were sending emails and messages and things like that, and then they were complaining to me, "This person, I have been sending mails and so many things and not answering, now I am sending quite a hard one." And then I knew that the father of that person died just 3 days ago. So I said, don't write now, because the father of this person died. And just I said, immediately, it completely changed. So many times it's like that. It's that we have to understand why people are doing something or saying something, or and so therefore this way, if you can just let
this way we can let go. Many emotions, by this way, if you understand that this emotion is not necessary, it's not useful, not good for me, not good for others, then we can just let it go. And especially if we know that this negative emotion is not good for me and not good for others and not good for now and not good for in the long run, then I say, okay, I let it go. And if I can let it go, even for a short time, it gives me much more, confidence and strength. Okay, I can manage my emotion. If I can manage my emotions, then I am under my control. Doesn't matter whatever happens, I am okay. So therefore, it gives me more confidence and more, kind of actually strength to myself. That is the first, to letting go, just letting go. The second method is what we say, transforming. And this is when we are kind of about, or we are experiencing certain negative emotions. Then allowing our mind to focus on something else, so that we can have something else coming in. This is very, very important, because we are usually, this is our habit, that we focus on negative things, on bad things, and then we focus so much that becomes our whole life. I sometimes say that, like, I don't have a very big hand, relatively small hand. But if I keep it like this, then I don't see anything else. I don't see anything. Not even the lines on my own. I totally blind myself. But if I do a little bit like this, then my hand is still there, but it doesn't harm me. It doesn't block anything. Yeah? So therefore, we have this habit of, focusing on the negative things, focusing on the problems. So if I have one problem, and then I just, all my attention, all my focus goes there. If somebody was a little not nice to me, or something like that, or if I have a little problem, like my watch didn't work, or something little thing, then my whole focus goes on that, and then brood on that thing, think about that, as if there's nothing else, and I get completely disturbed by that. And then I feel that, if that problem, unless that problem is solved, I can never be happy. And then I do everything to solve this problem. Sometimes we can solve this problem, sometimes even not, but if I can solve this problem, then I say, okay, now I have solved this problem, now I can be happy. But that's not the way of the world. Another problem comes. And then again, I do the same thing. And sometimes 2 problems comes, 3 problems comes, and then in that way, then I can never be in peace. But even when I have these problems, I have so many good things. Maybe my watch doesn't work, maybe my telephone doesn't work, maybe my even computer doesn't work, but at least I am healthy. I have food to eat. I have nice friends. Why should I be so unhappy? So therefore, it's not about what is happening but where you focus your mind, how actually I feel, and how, what kind of emotions or what kind of experience I have, is not what happens, but more where I, focus my mind. So therefore, if I have a certain, when I get into a certain negative emotion or negative feeling, I feel very hurt, I feel very sad, I feel very worried, I feel very, unhappy or whatever. At that moment, if I can allow something else come into my mind, some other, something other than that. If I can focus on something different, something nicer, then what happens? I feel that. And that, that experience or that emotion that I feel naturally, goes away, because at least at that time. Sometimes I say that, this kind of little bit jokingly, when you feel very angry or upset or, hurt, you just imagine that a very nice piece of Belgian chocolate melting on your tongue. And, for that time, you cannot feel angry and having that very sweet thing on at the same time. Maybe you don't need to do exactly that way, but this is the technique. The technique is that you transform. You allow your mind to focus on something else. And if you can do that, that can change our state of mind at that time. And since, sometimes we think that the emotions are very, very strong. It's very strong, very kind of, powerful and lasting very long. But if you look more deeply, actually it's not really like that. It's also like thoughts. It's momentary. It's momentary. Our thoughts are changing all the time. Our emotions are also changing all the time. We need to reinforce it again and again and again. Like, if I'm angry at something, then I have to say, that's very, very bad. That what he did, what she did was very bad. And then I'm really hurt about that. It's very bad, very bad. And then slowly, we also have to say that, oh yes, not only this time, but last year also he did this thing. Then goes back to, 3 years before also. And then, sometimes we go back to, their parents also very bad. And then, the whole community is bad, because they are English, like. We can go like that. And, we need to really kind of confirm, otherwise it will go away. We can experiment this. I've done, and you all have done this kind of things, I think. Sometimes you are very upset because maybe somebody said something, or maybe you get a email or something like that, or a message, a nasty one, and then you want to reply. And, this new modern technique is sometimes not good for that, because it's too easy to reply. In olden days you had this snail mail. You couldn't communicate too often, so you would think over many times before. But nowadays it's so you want to say something very nasty, and you do. You want to say also. But if you write those things, what you want to say, and don't send it, and next morning, if you look again, you never want to say the same thing. You know, your way of thinking has changed. I think it happens to almost everybody. So therefore, actually, the emotions are not that, you know, strong and stable. It changes also. You know? But we don't kind of, we want to hold on to it, and we want to reconfirm it again and again. And of course, we have this, they will come back again and again, because we see them as something, you know, it's maybe good for us or something like that. You know? So therefore, you know, if we understand this, that the emotions are also not that stable and not that strong and not that, you know, fixated, it's changing. So therefore, it's okay to allow that to change. It's okay, you know. And since these negative emotions are making ourselves very unhappy and hurt and, you know, bad, and positive emotions, you know, it's making ourselves happier and more peaceful and more joyful, and also will make other people more happy and joyful and do something good, then why not cultivate that? So this understanding, you know, this is the actually mainly the third one, is to understand this, that these emotions are also something very, very, you know, changing, and, you know, it's not something that that's solid, you know. So therefore, you know, thoughts come like this, like this, all this kind of things, and then if you hold on to that, then it becomes strong. But if you don't hold them, it's like, you know, it's like bubbles in the water. It comes and goes and comes and goes and comes and goes. So therefore, you know, if when it's like that, then why hold on to so painful and negative and, you know, emotions that keeps, you know, that creates problem for me, and that creates problem for others. So this, you know, this is kind of the important part. And then, if you really understand yourself, you know, every moment your thoughts are like, you know, it's coming and going, and say is the same thing, you know, emotions also. So therefore, when you see that, you know, everything is like momentary and going and coming and coming and going and coming and going, then it's not necessary that we have to completely always stick to that thing, you know. So therefore, when I am feeling bad, that I must understand that that's not, it cannot be like that all the time, you know, because it has to change. So if I know that it will change, because everything changes, then for a short time to feel that is not a big deal, you know. So when I know that, you know, this feeling of pain, or feeling of, you know, hurt feeling, or feeling of sadness, or feeling of worriness, or whatever, if I say it's okay, you know, this is something I'm feeling now, it will go away, and I should let it go away. There's no need to hold on to it. Then it is, what can you say? It not only doesn't last, but even when it is there, it's not so bad, because, you know, it's for a short time. Most of the time, what we are so much, you know, so much kind of suffering is because we think this is forever. This kind of, you know, problem, this kind of pain, this kind of hurt, it will be there all my life. You know, that's what we think. And then I cannot stand that. I cannot tolerate that. You know. That's why, you know, all these kind of people react with so badly, sometimes hurt themselves and sometimes hurt others, is because of that we see it so kind of so permanent and so kind of not something fleeting and temporary. So if we deeply understand that it's not like that, it's fleeting, it's temporary, it will always change, because everything changes. There's nothing really stands still like that forever. So when we understand this, because we never know, the future. The things change all the time, and sometimes in our life things can happen. Bad things can also happen that we never imagined, but good things can always happen that we never ever imagined. That's true. That's the way. It's the life. So therefore, when we have that understanding, then we can let it go. So when we know how to let go of our negative emotions and negative feelings, then there is nothing very negative in it. There is nothing so much negative, because we know that it is something that I can let it go. And for that also, that's why the meditation becomes a little important. Because as I said yesterday, meditation is basically to make our mind more flexible. Flexible means, as I said yesterday, that I can do what I want. I can if I have certain kind of negative emotions, and then I say, okay, this is not good for me. It's not right. It's not nice. I can let it go, or I can have something else to come in. Some other thoughts, some other feelings, some other memories. And then, if that can happen, I am already changed. So this is, I think, very, very important. And so therefore, when I have that understanding and experience, it is possible to be, in peace. Even if everything is not good, everything is around is kind of not so nice, and not so, lots of problem. I know about one person. This lady went to Tibet recently, and then she came back, and she was kind of shocked, because she saw somebody there. She saw an old lady, and that old lady, was blind, and she had no teeth, and she was kind of living in a place which was very small and very dirty, and no amenities, no kind of, no heating system, no nothing. It's very, very small, nothing. And she was laughing so much, She was laughing with her. She took also photographs. I saw the photograph with this, mouth without any teeth, and laughing. And she was very shocked, because there's nothing to laugh about. She was crippled. She was blind, and in very not so nice surroundings, and not very healthy also, I think. And then she asked, why are you so happy? And you know what she said? She said, why not? It's a little bit like that. Why not? It's a little bit like, there's also this kind of a joke, It is said that one joker, he told a joke, very funny joke, and everybody laughed, And then after a little while, he told the same joke again, and few people laughed. And then he told the joke again third time, and nobody laughed. And then he said, when I tell a joke, It's a nice joke. It's a funny thing. You know, first time you laugh, second time only very few laugh, and third time nobody laugh. But if a negative, bad thing happens, you cry so many times. Why? You know, why you have to cry so many times? You can cry first time, and second time a little bit, and third time not. So you know, sometimes we have that kind of a thing. You know, that we have. This is also our habit. You know, our habit. This. So therefore, you know, this is something that we need to, you know, work on. You know, it's not something it will go away like this, because this is the way we are. You know. Because the emotions, you know, it's so many problems, all of us, you know, mainly emotional problems, you know, all our sadnesses, all our hurt feelings, all our, you know, hurting each other, you know, doing all kind of negative things, atrocities, you know, all these things is because of that. If everybody became kind to each other, and kind to yourself and kind to each other today, tomorrow the world is totally heaven, nothing else, you know. In fact, to totally change the world is not a big deal if we did it, you know. That's why I was very, very impressed by, you know, there was one musician, and he always, you know, played the flute, and then he said a prayer. And his prayer was just this only one little thing, you know, one sentence. His prayer was that, may all beings be kind to each other. So if all beings, everybody can be kind to each other, that's it. Everything is transformed, you know, the world can be transformed. And if some people are not very kind, they will pretend to be. Also, no, it's like that. So this is, you know, this is the way. But then, you know, because we are so used to, so therefore sometimes, you know, even now, many people, you know, if somebody is a little bit kind and compassionate, then people sometimes say that, oh, he is too kind, you know, he will not be able to, you know, he can't be very efficient. Because we sometimes think that to be efficient you have to be ruthless, you know. So we almost, you know, have this kind of what can you say? We almost appreciate ruthlessness, you know. And if we appreciate ruthlessness, then the people who are ruthless will become more encouraged and more, you know, and even those who are not very ruthless will try to act ruthless. Yeah? And that's what the problem is in this world. You know? If we all understand that to be compassionate, to be kind, to be nice, to be helping each other is very useful, very nice, very important, you know, and everybody thinks like that, and everybody, you know, sees like that, then, you know, and then only things can change. And we have to, you know, of course, we have lots of negative habits, and these habits do not go away very quickly. So we need to exercise, and then exercise is little by little, you know. First we have to little by little, you know, even little thing. And of course, again, this sometimes a problem is that if I'm a little bit unkind, or even a little bit not so compassionate, or a little bit angry, then, oh, I'm so bad, and then I feel lots of guilt, and then that's not necessary, you know. If I'm angry, if I've been feeling bad, that's something, you know, what I have always been doing, nothing new, nothing special, you know, it's okay. But if I have been a little bit nice and kind, and, you know, if I could let go of my negative emotions a little bit, I should appreciate myself. I should, you know, I should really congratulate myself, you know. I should pat my back. I'm so great, you know. I let go of negative feeling for 10 seconds. No? I think that's like that. So that's all I want to say.